we're hanging out on the street with Runn, and we have a dog that's going to just pop up in front of us from that way, and he doesn't know about. We're just hanging out. Oh, look at that. It's a dog. So he heard or saw the dog and turned back to me, and what did I do? I should have said good. So you're going to say good. Just walk around there. So there's the dog, and you see what Runn does here. Now go back over there, because you have to stay in the range of the camera so the camera can see you. And we picked a dog that was going to jump around a lot. Let Gibbs be free. Just let him be free. Just to kind of like move around and stuff. See how he's very jumpy? I picked a dog that was going to be hyper and jumpy, because that would conceivably be more attractive to Runn, because he had some leash aggression with dogs on the street. But of course we practiced here a lot. See how Runn will just, he's non-reactive here because of all the practicing we did, and he'll even see a dog and turn back to me, and I'll just reward him every time, and that's how I got him to this point. And at first, of course, I was having to say come and call him away, because when we first started practicing, he would just see a dog and make a beeline for the dog, and I would call him back to me, and we did that a bunch of times. And every time that we practiced with different dogs, come, it became easier and easier to call him away. He got less and less excited when he saw them, and now the new behavior is really kicking in because we practiced the new appropriate behavior, which is to not get excited, turn back to me, and I can even, because of the way I'm practicing the come command, you see this is he's grabbing his leash. This is a hyper dog, and very attractive. Like, he would be, for a dog that gets overstimulated with another dog, he would be a big trigger for a dog like Runn back in the beginning before we started training. But now that I've been practicing a lot, and you know the way I practice calling him to come to me is with this closed target. Come. He doesn't know that it's empty. Good boy. And if I call him to a closed hand target where I don't have a treat, I'll just love him up extra. And we're in kind of a tight spot here. Come. And I'll just call him back to me over and over again, and just give him a head rub or something instead of the treat, because now, come, he has no idea why he wants to come back to his target. Good boy, because I used food for a while and I gradually phased it out. But for you, when he's first back with you for a few weeks, use the food rewards in your closed hand target for a while, gradually phase them out, like maybe every third time there's nothing in there, and then every other time there's nothing in there, and then pretty soon you're down to 2 times a day, 3 times a day that there is something, and the other times there's not. So I gradually phase out the food, but you see how non-reactive he is. And one more thing about a dog like this, and this dog used to have a lot of aggression with dogs on the street. He's getting a lot better now. He's just into playing with a leash, which of course is another issue we have to deal with him. But at least he doesn't have the leash aggression that he had when he came here. But this is still a dog that you probably wouldn't intro to Runn. So the next dog that we show you is going to be more of like the kind of calm, easygoing dog that would be better to, if you wanted Runn to be with to get to know maybe a friend's dog, for example. A hyper dog, this kind of breed that tends to have a prey drive, not the best one to do it with. So we're going to practice with another dog that's going to be more suitable to actually getting along with Runn, and show you how to get along to intro slowly to a new dog. That's what we're going to show you next. Well, this other dog's about to pop up in front of us. You can see this, right? And this is a kind of a mellow dog that is actually good with some other dogs. And you see that he comes right near us, and Runn is not reactive. Actually, whenever a new dog shows up, he comes my way. And for doing that automatically now, he deserves a treat. So whenever he just moves back away from that dog that we see on the street that we get surprised by, he turns away from that dog, I'm going to give him a treat every time, because I want to feed that new behavior pattern. which is the opposite of what he used to do, which is to see a dog and want to go towards it. Now he sees a dog and turns away from it. So this is the kind of dog that if you wanted to intro Runn to another dog, we're going to show you how to do that. The way that you start is on the street, on neutral territory, and you practice calling Runn, come, away from the dog a few times. Not coming into contact with the dog, but staying 15, 20 feet away. And do that for a while. And then take a walk. And the way we would do that, just follow us. We're just going to do a little abbreviated version of what you would do. So go that way. I'm going to follow you. Go that way. Take a walk with the dogs together in proximity to each other. So turn around and come back, Ronnie. Come back this way. So go to one end of the street and then come back and go to the other end. And now the dog's behind us, as you can see. So you do that maybe for like 10 minutes or so. And really the bottom line is to introduce to another dog, you don't even get them close to each other until they're kind of ignoring each other, because you don't want them to be pulling towards each other, overstimulated, overexcited, anxious, and of course there's going to be a tight leash because the dog's pulling you. And maybe you have control over Runn because you practice the training, but your friend is probably not going to have control over her dog, his or her dog. So that dog will be straining at the leash, which causes overstimulation and could cause trouble. So you always want to wait for this, where like if the dog just collapses like this, he's excited. That's why he's panting, but he's not reactive anymore to another dog here on this street, here in our area, because we practice the new behavior so many times here. But can you come a little bit closer, please? And that dog was turning away. That dog doesn't care either. So the next step, once you've got this, from walking around out on neutral territory, you always meet on neutral territory, on the street, not in your yard, not in your house. Your house is the last place you go after everything else is good. That would be the last place that you have them together. Now that you've got them being like whatever, ignoring each other on neutral territory, now you go into your yard, which we're going to do right now. So go into the yard. Okay. And we did the walk outside, we did the calling away, because if there's any staring at all, you want to call Runn away so that he doesn't stare, so it's this constant coming back to you and staring or looking and coming back to you. And you see the result of that is he just starts to become desensitized to another dog, meeting them on the street. And then we came in here and he wants some water, so go over there, Ronnie, go there, because we're still not at the point where we're letting the dogs have physical contact. Good boy. And Runn wanted some water. Now you can bring him back, but we're about maybe at different points we're 10 to 15 feet away and hanging out. And the way that I do this is I like to do this several times before I let the dog drop the leashes and let the dog just play in the yard. And see how Runn's looking now? Come. I'm still going to call him away if he looks at the dog when we're in the yard. But you see, we don't have pulling. We have two pretty calm dogs here. When the dog comes close to us, he looks away, which is what we want. Come. But now the dog is like 6 feet away, and maybe because we did this so quickly, just so we wouldn't have to show you a half an hour's worth on the video, we just kind of like broke the steps down into very short periods. That's a little bit too much too soon to actually let them be that close. But when I'm doing this, I'll just end here and then do it tomorrow the same way. And maybe 3 times seems to be the charm when you've got this kind of result happening. And then if everything's cool at the third time, the third meeting, then you drop the leashes, but keep the leashes on in the same yard. And of course, Runn, if he went over to that dog and I saw that he was maybe going to do something inappropriate, I have the come, I have that come command with Runn, so that's what I would do with the leash on if there was trouble. But by the third time of hanging out like this, you're usually going to be okay with a dog like Runn. He's not good with dogs. He lives with another dog. He likes the dog. It's just a matter of taking time for him to get to know another dog. That's what it's all about. You don't want to rush it, and don't try to make it all work out in 10 minutes. So do it the way that we've described here and the way we do it here. And you have like a much, much greater chance of him getting along with a new dog. But you have to take your time. You have to be patient, because if you do it this way and you meet several dogs like this, every time you meet a new dog, come. See how he's kind of looking at him? Call him away. Every time you meet a new dog, it'll take you less and less time for him to get used to that dog, as long as it's a dog like this that's nice. Now, I only want you to try to get him used to a dog that's like this. It's a pretty calm dog, nice dog, not insecure, not skittish, good with other dogs. That's the only kind of dog that you would want to intro to Runn. And of course, he's good with other dogs as long as they're fairly stable dogs, not aggressive, of course. But every time that you do it, it'll take less and less time for him to get used to them. And once he's got a few friends, then it'll just be easier every time, and he'll be able to have more friends, and it'll take you less time to intro to those new dogs later on. And that's the way you do it. Okay, we're gonna walk, Runn up to sit, up to the person. This is a greeting routine that I practice with him every day with somebody. Give the person a little treat, come back next to Runn, see how he's waiting. You're never restraining him, so he's always in a real sit stay, waiting to be patted on the chest like this, and go say hi to the person, get the treat, he gets petted, you say, come, call him back to you, good. Notice how I grab the leash with my left hand, I step into him, sit, and when he came to me, he got the treat. We're just going to do this 3 times just to show you what we do. Also, we can also throw in a little sit stay before you send him over. When you get really comfortable with handling him like I am here, just through practice, you can start doing more things before you send him over. Go say hi. Come. Good. It's always the same. It's a great way to practice the recall in a different situation. It's a great way to teach him not to sit, not to jump on people, because obviously he doesn't jump on people now when he goes to meet them. And it's just a way to plug in a lot of the training. You got the sit stay, you got the go command, you got the come command, and it's a real life situation that most everybody has, meeting a new person or meeting or greeting a person that they really like, and a person that would make him excited, and somebody that maybe they walked through your front door before and he just jumps all over and goes crazy. You'll always do this outside of your house, in your front sidewalk or driveway or wherever. If you care about this and having him get calmer and calmer with people that come around or people that you introduce him to, you do this as much as possible. Do it on neutral territory, in a more open spot. The worst place to do it is inside your living room. Let that person walk through your front door, because that's where a dog is going to get the most excited, on the inside of your front door. So for a while, just bring him outside. Ask that person to just wait there, come out. You know, if I wasn't talking to you, this would take all of like 60 seconds. Go, one last time. Come. Good. And then when you are done, they walk first, and you follow them into the house and have them sit at the doorway and do the doorway boundary thing that we've showed you, and then bring them in, send them to the person one more time. You could do it a couple of times in there. If it's somebody that's really making him super excited, you want to do a couple more times in the house after you've first done it outside, and you'll see that it would really help. And also, it's just like, it's 2/3 of your training. Sit stays, recall, the go command, sending him to somewhere and then calling him back. So it's just a good little thing to practice. You could practice it with your kids and maybe have them practice, so that at some point they can send the dog to you, playing my part, and you're standing there. That I would do in your backyard with the kids, just so there's no distractions on the street. there would be distractions on the street. So you want to practice it first where there's no distractions with your family members, and the best place for that would be the backyard. But that's how we do it every day, and you see how calm he is here when we're practicing all these things. And if you continue doing that at your place, you'll see the same results there. Sit. We're having Runn sit at this gate. See, we had him sit first, and then I open the gate. Okay, sit. I'm having him sit closer to the doorways. Make sure you can see him. He might have been in the shadow. You see how he sits and waits at every gate, we're going to show you at the curb, every gateway, every doorway, and then every curb. Okay. Sometimes you might have to go back to close a gate or a doorway and just do that always turn left into him like this. If you have to go back to do something, or if you have to, take a turn. Like if I want to go right, I'm going to go left, like this. Sit. He's very amped up right now, the way he gets sometimes when we go out on the street. Walk around, sit, stay here. I do this at every curb before we cross the street. This is just like the gateway. This is just like the doorway. It's a very important boundary. He waits until I say, okay. He walks across with me. See how the leash is loose? And if he pulls, you might have to tap him a little bit. But in general, you want to keep it loose. And I'm walking really slow. If you walk slow, he'll walk slow. On the other side, sit. And then here's where the walk starts. Go. Release him to be free. And now the goal is, since most of the walk is just a free time endeavor where he's peeing and looking around and sniffing and just enjoying himself, relaxing, and it's not about exercising him really to make him tired, because you would be tired before he was tired. So the walk is just having him be relaxed, having a good time getting him out, and you want to keep that leash loose. So if you're walking him, you see how I thought he would pull me, but he's not. But because I've called him back to me so many times and we've walked on a loose leash so many times, it's very rare that he pulls me. And that's only because of the way I've handled him in the last month or so. But if he starts pulling me, I can say, come, and I can call him back to me. Good, like that. And just that one thing, if you just do that one thing on a walk, anytime he sees a distraction, whether it's another dog or a cat or something like that, just call him, nope. He will get super excited sometimes. So if he jumps on you, you just say no like that and he'll stop. And anytime that he starts to pull, you can call him back to come to you, and that fixes your problem. Let's walk just for a little bit, see if he'll pull me. But you see that, so the leash is under his leg here. Come. Let me get him untangled. Come here, come on. Right here, bud. And he stepped out of it. So if you do this, calling him back to you, and there's a dog on the other side of this wall here. See how he'll just come back to me? Good. Even when a dog's barking, you can't see the dog because it's a solid wall here. But I've called him back to me so many times. See, now he's pulling. Come! Because sometimes dogs come out of this driveway. So if you want him to stop pulling, come! You call him back to you like that. Come! See, I could just stay here and do it a few times. Come! Good. And you see, after I've done it a couple of times, come! He starts to become desensitized. Good. And start to come back to you before you even say come. Like he gets less interested in wherever he was going. He's not pulling anymore. Good. I didn't even say come the last couple of times. Good boy. Good. And so that's the result of me practicing calling him away from anything, any place, any distraction, or any place he wants to go. I just call him back to come to me. And over time, his interest, come, in that, going in that direction or after that distraction just gets less and less. Come. And you just keep doing that. This is actually a grooming place where dogs come in and out of this doorway a lot. That's why he's so interested in it. But you see how after I call him back to me 6 or 8 times, whatever it's been, the desire kind of like just goes away. He's not pulling anymore. Come. Good. And it's a way to desensitize him to any distraction or any place that he wants to go. And it keeps the leash loose because he's always coming back to you. The other way that I keep the leash loose is just by, if he pulls, a little tap. See a little tap? It's just a little tap. Just like that. There's no choking up. There's no dragging him away. There's no restraining him like this. It's just a tap and release, and he comes your way, just like that. Just make sure that that leash doesn't get tangled up. So he went that way, and I tapped him, went back the other way. Also, come. You don't have to show it, but there's a dog behind you, behind the camera. See, I was looking at it. Good. Somebody pulled up, and they're bringing their dog to the groomer. Come. In that case, you want to call him away. Let's go, buddy. Sit. We never repeat the command. If he had not have sat with the first command, I wouldn't have repeated it. I just would have pulled up with a little bit of pressure like this. And then as soon as his butt hit the ground, I would have released it. Stay is built into sit, so you don't have to say stay. Basic sit stay that I practice everywhere in all different locations is just, he sits there, he waits for you to walk around both ways. And we're practicing here in a place where there's a lot of distractions, lots of noises, lots of people walking everywhere, lots of people carrying stuff. So in order to do this, he has to have a pretty solid sit stay. And when he doesn't make a mistake, the only way you reward him is you come back next to him, eye contact, and it's just straight down, good. He's literally looking in your eyes as you give him the treat. It's not like this, it's not over here, it's just eye contact straight down. And if he makes a mistake, I'm going to release him, but we'll pretend that he made a mistake. Go. So if he made a mistake and popped up before I released him, I'd say no. I'd step into him like this, reset him, and just do that. Little bit of pressure, put him back. No rough stuff, no corrections. If he makes a mistake 3 times, which you probably wouldn't at this point, you just reset him 3 times, and he will give in, because that's exactly how I taught him to do this sit stay. Is I kept resetting him until he gave up. He did it my way. He got a reward, and then he started learning, oh, I just have to wait until I get released. He only gets released when you come back next to him with your right hand, because he's on your left. You let this thing pass by. You want to come by? Yeah, sure. So we want all the people to pass by. Yeah, because it's part of the video. So all these distractions, he's still in the sit stay. I'm not restraining him. He's choosing to stay here in the sit stay. I didn't pay for this. This just happened behind us. You can't make this stuff up. So he's waiting. Go, and he's free. Very good. Down. As with the sit, we never repeat the command. He loves to do the down command. He's just aching to do it at all times. And that's good, of course. But what's really important is the stay. That's what we always see a problem with. Maybe a dog knows a sit or a down, but they just don't stay. So we practice the stay a lot, and you can do all sorts of things. You can pull on the leash really hard. He's not going to get up until he's released. Good. And of course the basic downstay is just where he accepts you walking around him both ways. And we first started just practicing this at my house, in my yard, with no distractions. We worked up to coming out in public like this, with people everywhere and carts going past and noises and all of that. And good. It's a pretty solid stay now. He can handle a lot of things. And the key is to practice this downstay in a different spot every day. Once he's really good and you've got this kind of stay in one spot, start practicing it somewhere else. Practice it at the curb. Practice it at the end of your driveway. Practice it in your backyard. Just once he's good in one spot or one situation, he won't get up like he is now, then it's time to pick a new place to practice. I'll wait till this cart goes past. Good boy. So when he ignores that type of distraction, we like that. That's good. And this is too easy for him now. So we would, if he stayed with me longer, we'd try to find another place that was even more crazy, with more distractions than this place. Good. So to release him, he's waiting till you come back next to him. This is the only way you release him out of a down. You wait till you come back next to him. You say, okay. He stands up. You say, sit. And then you always release him from a calm sit stay. See how he's waiting? Never restraining him, holding him in place. Go. He's free. The reason that I don't release him straight out of a downstay is because dogs tend to jump up and run around, and we're really trying to develop this inner calm in him with every downstay that we do. And so the key is to release him in as calm a way as possible. And so it's a lot easier to reinforce a calm release from a sit stay. So it's okay, it's sit, and then go. You can see how calm he is. He may be panting, but for him, he's way calmer than he usually is because of all these different downstays that we practiced in busy places. Okay. You're going to walk, run up to his crate. You're going to have him sit. He already sat, but even though, because this situation is familiar to him and he's always going to sit when you bring him up to his crate because we've done it so many times, you still want to say sit, to tell him to do that. Don't not say the command. He opened this crate door. Nope. So he loves his crate and wants to race in there. Make sure he really waits, and you can just do what I just did. Say no, tap that, and release. He really needs to wait. No. Open that door and then say go. He goes in. He gets a little treat. Always make sure you stick your hand in there so he's not hanging his head out and you don't give him a treat here, because that'll teach him obviously to stick out of the crate. And we're just going to take off his equipment when he's in the crate and close the door. He loves his crate because we feed him in there. It's very comfortable. He's got blankets in there. He sleeps overnight in the crate. Throughout the day, he's constantly in and out of the crate, sometimes every hour. So he's got plenty of spare or free time and lots of exercise because we have different yards. So he's not in there for very long at all during the day, but at night, he just goes out right before bedtime, and then he sleeps for 7.5, 8 hours, and then he gets out first thing in the morning. And that's been our routine here. Every time that he goes in, you saw what I just did. He went in, turned around, got a treat, took off his stuff, closed the door. You hang, if you decide to do this routine, the crate, I'm just showing you what we're doing here. But if you do that, you hang his little training collar right there. When you take him out, I think the best way to do this is to get ready before you even open the door. Put the little mini prong collar that we're using here on, attach it to the leash first so it's all ready to go. You open the door. If he tries to burst out, which he won't with me, but if he does with you, you say no. Just give it kind of like what I would call a token slam. Let it bounce like that. Doing this doesn't seem to have the same effect, so you can just bounce it and say no, and he'll back off. But we practice this so much here with him that he knows to wait. If he waits, you give him a little tidbit, a little treat of some sort. And it could be just a little doggy lamb treats, that's what I have right now, or it could be something else you're using, but try to use something with all the treats, use something that's a high value reward, not some old stale, dog biscuit or something. We use sometimes a training roll that you just kind of cut into slices and then you break up into pieces. Usually it's lamb, but you could use chicken breast, little pieces of cheese, whatever you want to use if you want to really make a big impression on him. Especially when calling him back from other dogs, you want to use a high value reward, like even little pieces of salmon. Just grill some salmon. It's not that expensive. Put that in your pouch and call him away from other dogs with a piece of salmon. That would really help you for a while. So it's always a high value reward. All this time I'm talking, he's waiting there to be allowed out. First thing that I do, and this is what we do all day long, is we just reach in, put on this little training collar, the leash is already attached, and he's going to wait until, and this is something I practice, step back, good, he gets a reward for waiting at that boundary. He's going to wait until I say, okay, he's going to come out. Always make sure you close this crate door, because the power of this crate routine is that since we've developed this as his den, he gets his bones and chewies, because we do give him bones and things to chew on, only in there. Things he really likes happen only in there. We bring his food to him, so he's in his crate, we get his food, open the door, put it in there, he eats in there, he sleeps in there, he gets a reward every time he goes in, he gets a reward every time he waits at the door. So for him, the crate is a great place, and it also is a great place for you to be able to put him, he loves it in there. You're never going to keep him in there for 10 hours at a time. It's not for that. It's just a way and a place so that you can manage your life more so and have a less hectic household. If things are going on, too much is going on, he can always go in his crate in the other room behind a closed door, which is where you want to have it, and hang out, be really happy, give him his favorite bone to chew on for a while. When the party's over or the birthday party for the kids is over, he can come out, and it's just been much easier for you that way. But we use the crate as a tool for training, and as you can see, we have him sit and wait to be allowed in, and then he waits. You don't have him sit or do anything when he's in there, but you have him wait at the boundary and allow him out. It does add to all the other training, because if you're the one controlling his access in and out of his favorite place in the world, his den, dogs are naturally den animals, then he's more likely to come when you say come, come when called, away from dogs, and do sit stays and down stays. And like you saw out in public at the big store we were at, more likely to pay attention and focus on you when you're doing other things. So this is a part of the training, what we've done here, and whether you choose to do it or not, I just wanted to show you what he's been doing here, and I think it'd be a good idea if you did this at your house, but that's up to you. You'd need an extra large crate. It's a not a Great Dane, it's a German Shepherd size crate, extra large. That's what we're using here. Not a cage, not a metal cage, but a real dog crate, because you want to simulate a den. You want a cozy place for him to go in there, have some privacy, be cozy, and that's why you want the solid plastic walls rather than the open cage.